camping, hiking, going to the lake.
So what was she into at the time?
As every little girl was, Frozen, and unicorns and mermaids.
Athena Strand's father remembers his little girl as he testifies in the trial of her confessed killer. Thanks for joining us this midday. I'm Dia Wall. Today is a critical day in the sentencing trial of Tanner Horner, the delivery driver who confessed to killing Athena, a trial that we're streaming gavel to gavel right now on WFAA+. Not only did the little girl's father take the stand, but jurors are viewing a key video. Our Chris Sadeghi is live at the courthouse with the very latest on this. Chris, just gripping testimony.
Yes, Dia, one day after Athena Strand's mother took the stand for her emotional testimony, Athena's father was the first witness today, and then the jury heard and saw more key videos.
What do you miss most about Athena?
Just her laugh and her spirit. And she loved everybody.
Jacob Strand talked about his daughter's love of camping and the outdoors, and that when she went missing, he hoped she was just out playing hide and seek. The jury saw an unopened box of dolls he bought her as a Christmas gift, one she never got to open. From there, Ranger Joe Espinoza was called back to the stand to walk the jury through more video evidence. That evidence included several videos of Chance Horner inside his FedEx van from dates even before Athena's death, showing that he regularly would cover the van's front-facing camera while he was driving as to hide where he was going. Espinoza testified that as they reviewed available video evidence from the van, Horner often covered the camera to hide what he was doing. Finally, there was a video of him the day after Athena went missing. Horner is shown delivering packages in the area where the search teams were looking. You can hear him ask what is going on and acting surprised when told a 7-year-old was missing. Now, the next piece of video evidence the jury will hear will not be live streamed. It is the video from the day Athena was kidnapped and killed. They are listening to that right now. There was no video because the camera was covered. However, the audio was recorded. And again, that will not be live streamed per the judge's orders. Dia, back to you.
All right, Chris, thank you. You can watch coverage of the entire trial right now on WFAA+. Senior investigative reporter Tanya Iser and a panel of legal experts are breaking down testimony each day. You can download WFAA+ for free on your smart TV. The future of Camp Mystic is still unclear this midday after a Texas judge ruled that buildings must remain untouched. This week, the court heard emotional testimony on whether the camp's directors did enough to protect campers and counselors during last year's deadly flood. 27 campers and counselors died. The court proceedings stemmed from a wrongful death lawsuit filed by the family of Seal Stewart, who was never found. Developing this midday, police say former Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax killed his wife, then himself, and it was the couple's teenage son who called 911. Police say that shooting appears to be tied to a domestic dispute during what they describe as a complicated divorce. The Trump administration is ratcheting up the pressure on Iran today to negotiate a deal to end the war. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is warning the Iranian regime the U.S. is locked and loaded, ready to strike when needed. ABC's Olivia Rubin has the latest.
The U.S. Navy putting the pressure on Iran, enforcing a tight blockade of all shipping in and out. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth saying the blockade is, quote, the polite way that this can go.
If Iran chooses poorly, then they will have a blockade and bombs dropping on infrastructure, power, and energy.
The goal of the blockade to force Iran into making concessions in peace talks. So far, the Pentagon says 14 ships have turned around because of the blockade.
Captains of all these ships have made the wise decision not to move, transit, or run this blockade.
General Kane also announcing an expansion targeting Iran's shipping network anywhere in the world, indicating the focus will potentially be on targeting ships linked to Iran's so-called dark fleet of illicit oil transported to China.
We'll actively pursue any Iranian-flagged vessel or any vessel attempting to provide material support to Iran.
But so far, Iran not backing down, threatening to retaliate by halting all trade in the region and calling the blockade a, quote, prelude to a violation of the ceasefire. Still, there is hope of a second round of peace talks between the U.S. and Iran. According to Iranian state TV, the head of Iran's negotiating team met with Pakistan's Army Chief General today, adding the general is expected to travel to the U.S. next. And on the other front of the war, President Trump saying the leaders of Israel and Lebanon will speak later today for the first time in 34 years. Those talks coming after weeks of strikes from both sides. Olivia Rubin, ABC News, Washington.
Europe has maybe 6 weeks or so left of jet fuel and could soon see mass flight cancellations. That's the warning today from the head of the International Energy Agency, as he calls the blockade of oil supplies the largest energy crisis they've ever faced. Happening this afternoon, DART is set to officially name a new interim CEO. Former CEO Nadine Lee stepped down last month, and a member of DART's executive staff stepped in temporarily. Today's announcement comes weeks before voters in 3 cities decide if they want to continue service with the transit agency. The city of Dallas will hold a meeting tonight to discuss changing the rules when it comes to electric scooters. The city says between last June and this March, people took more than 460,000 trips on Bird, Lime, and Spin scooters. That's nearly double the amount of trips taken during the same time period last year. The city is considering adjustments to no-ride zones and longer operating hours, too. That meeting is set for 6 p.m. The Dallas Police Department is in dire need of new training centers, but the cost for them has nearly tripled. Dallas City Hall reporter Cole Sullivan breaks down how we got here and when voters could be asked to pay for it.
The story of the new Dallas Police Training Academy will likely end with you, but how it gets from here to there is a little bit complicated. Pretty much everyone agrees the current academy needs replacing, so the city decided to build a new one on the campus of the University of North Texas at Dallas. Then a problem. There's not enough room at UNTD for a vehicle track, and you can't have a gun range that close to college kids. So move, not so fast. State money that's helping fund this project is tied to building at UNTD. So now we have 2 locations. One at UNTD, and the other just announced to be at the Dallas Executive Airport. But now there's a money problem. What was once estimated to cost $140 million increased to nearly $400 million now. To pay for it all, the city is suggesting taking on more debt. They want to issue a bond, and that is where you come in. They'll need voter approval in November to do that. Council members are not thrilled about this number, and they're just finding out about this location. They'll be back later this spring to talk about it all and decide whether to bring a bond measure to you on the November ballot. Back to you.
U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is testifying before House lawmakers right now. This hearing is to go over his budget as he lays out his priorities. But he's also expected to face questions about vaccines and some other hot topics. Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, Zepbound. The GLP-1 medications have been called wonder drugs. They improve the management of diabetes and also help those who are overweight, but they don't always work. And new research explains why. Our medical expert, Dr. David Winter with Baylor Scott & White, is here today to report on the new findings. Dr. Winter, I'm sure you talk a lot about these GLP-1s, so tell us what this new research says.
Yeah, let me emphasize they really are remarkable. They made the treatment of diabetes easier. I've seen people lose 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds relatively easy. The puzzling thing is why they don't work on everybody. And now this new research has found a genetic variant that makes this enzyme, it's called peptidyl glycine stimulating monooxidase. That's quite a mouthful. The good thing is we found what, the name of this is not important, but the good thing is we know now exactly why they don't work on some people.
You know, Dr. Winter, are people who have this enzyme in jeopardy if they do take these medications anyway?
No, either it works or it doesn't work. It's interesting though, some people work with just a small amount of GLP-1 drugs, smaller doses. Some people need larger doses, so this enzyme may have something to do with that. More research is certainly going to help us figure that out.
Why do those who have this enzyme, Dr. Winter, not lose weight or have better control of their diabetes?
Yeah, the enzyme somehow blocks what GLP-1 is doing. Now, exactly what it's doing there and how we can help fix that, that remains to be seen. Let me emphasize, though, these drugs do more than just help with diabetes and obesity. If you take these drugs, we found you have less chance of heart attacks, strokes, kidney disease, maybe less dementia, maybe less cancers. A lot of research can help us figure that out, but these drugs have much more potential right now. More research is going to really help us actually help people in a lot of different ways.
You know, if you had to sum up just your overall takeaways on this new research, Dr. Winter, how would you do that?
Well, it's an exciting time to be in healthcare. We're doing things now we couldn't do several decades ago, curing people, managing people better, solving other problems. This research actually will help us, I think, figure out what the GLP drugs are doing with heart disease, with strokes, kidney disease. What are they doing there? I suspect spin-off drugs will help figure that out. As regards to this particular problem with this monooxynase type drug, they'll figure out a way to get around that, I suspect, also. Exciting time to be in healthcare. A lot of good things out there right now. So I'm glad to be here to tell you about these new advances and more research to come.
Dr. Winter with Baylor Scott and White, we always appreciate your expertise.